Hey guys, how's it going? If you saw the thumbnail, you know what you're watching. We are doing fork seals on a 19 RMZ450. Here they are, 49mm Showas. So yeah, let's get after it. So, as with most of our fork seal videos, I'm only going to show you one fork because they are the same. On the forks that are different side to side, I definitely do both of them, but on these Showas and honestly most forks, the AERs are different. Oh, some of the tack, the other air forks from Japanese brands, like they're different, but on most normal spring style forks, at least changing the fork seals and bleeding the internal system is all the same. So we'll start with this guy. I'm going to chalk it up in the soft jaws. Sometimes you gotta shock that thing to get loose. But since we're in aluminum soft jaws, we're fine. Or tube is just fine. You still want to be careful. You don't want to just go crazy and come out. Fortunately, that took care of that. Alright, so now that that's loose, we're going to check our clickers. We're going to go in, count our clicks. So that was 8 out from all the way in, so now we're going to come all the way out with it. And write that down, compression, 8. Alright, now we're going to take this, I'm going to dump out what oil we can here. Alright, now we got a 21mm socket. It's going to go on the end here. Show you what we're doing. Right there. So we're going to break this loose with the impact. Alright, now, it's not going to come all the way off because it's attached to the inner cartridge here. So what we're going to do, so we got this is just a plastic holder from Race Tech, and what we're going to do is push it down. I'll bring this up and show you guys. Instead, put it on the boot so we're not pushing the concrete. There we go. So what you're doing, you're putting this holder to keep this up so we can get a wrench on here and then break this nut loose. So 17mm wrench on there. Use the same 21. There we go. So now that is loose. Take that out. So over here in our tub. Now we can work on the seals and then we'll go to bleeding that. Alright, so flat blade screwdriver. We're going to come in here and go in between the dust seal and the fork tube and just twist. And just kind of go around. Nice and easy. There we go. Now we're going to come in here, get the snap ring out, Now that that's free, we slide hammer it apart. And there we go. Take a good look at our bushings. Make sure they are nice and shiny and happy. They look pretty good. And then, as always, I like to line these things up the way they came off. Even the seals. Obviously, we have new seals to put in, but I line them up. So now I know they go back on in this order. Take them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're gonna go back on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, I'm gonna take these things over, clean them up really good in the parts washer, and we'll be right back. All right, so got the fork tubes all washed off. Want to get all the water out of them. Now, as always, if you guys have seen any of my other fork seal videos, take a piece of red Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to put a crosshatch in the chrome, which helps hold that thin film of oil on the fork tube as it slides up and down, helping to keep it lubed and moving smoothly. So there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what you want it to look like. Looks good. Our fork seal drivers. Alright guys, so I don't have a 49mm fork seal bullet because the biggest one I have is 48, and I'm sure someone makes one. I'm sure someone makes one. I don't have it. That's alright. I'm going to show you guys the other old school trick. So this is you take an old plastic bag, put it over the top of that. Make sure it's nice and smooth. We take a little bit of grease. We'll put our dust seal on first. Then our snap ring. Oil seal. Take that off. And put our washer. Outer bushing. Inner bushing. We're going to take them, put them together. One of the keys to this, guys, is to use your fork seal driver on the bushing and washer first. And I do have a 49mm fork seal driver, but no bullet. Oh well. And our oil seal. There we go. Take your snap ring, put it down in there. Try to do this by hand if at all possible, but a lot of times it won't seat. So we take our flat blade, just be real careful. Push that down in until it snaps in. Now take this, boom, and we're good. So now this assembly is ready to go. I'm going to set it over here on the lift and move to our inner cartridge. So take our spring off. Take our lock nut basically, and we're going to run that down until it stops. You got to get the damper adjuster rod out. Now, what we got to do is we got to loosen this top part, right? So I have a special tool for this. This is a thing that you really should use the special tool. You can actually use a nice pair of Oklahoma socket set. I can say that because I'm from Oklahoma. Or you can use a, which is a crescent wrench, or you can use like those cool guy Nipex channel locks I have that are smooth. But we will use the right tool since we have it. Put it back in our soft jaws. And this time, we're just using the soft jaws to kind of hold it, because so it doesn't move around. We'll actually use our fork cap wrench to hold it while we loosen it. There we go. It's our Motion Pro tool. It's part number 08-0569, 08-0569. It actually, it's a whole tool. It comes with all sorts of things. But anyway, that's what that is. Half-inch ratchet. Like I said, we're going to use this to hold it. All right, now we got to loose. We take our rod and push up. Boom, that releases it. Now, just going to ease this up and out. This gets messy if you pull on it real hard. There's oil there, obviously. There we go. I can take this and dump it in our bucket. We're going to bleed it out by just pulling it upside down and pumping the damper rod up and down. There we go. Here's all the valving. So I'm not going to go deep into this, but basically if you have a suspension tuner that is going to revalve your suspension, what they're doing is changing the shims that are in here. This on the bottom is the compression stack, the top is the rebound stack, and yeah, it's this is a pretty simple one. This is a motocross bike, so they don't do a lot of fanciness with it, but anyway, pretty cool. This is the free piston on Yamahas. These things break a lot because they don't have that hole drilled in them already, and they're KYBs. These are Showas, but anyway, there we go. So clean this up really good with brake cleaner. I get lots of questions about what this is, so there you go. It's a Sure Shot. Got it on Amazon, made in the US, which is cool. And in it is brake clean from NewTek. Not the people who make Nitro Mooses, a different NewTek, spelled differently. Yeah, we ordered it in bulk. They sent it to us. It's all good. So that's nice and clean. I'll blow it out. Gonna refill this with 5-weight. And guys, there's these bleed holes right here. Don't fill it up past that because it's just gonna come out. It doesn't hurt anything, but it is a waste of oil. So we're just gonna slowly but surely pump this up and down until we get all the air out. And it's really hard to show you on the camera, but if you look down in here, you can see bubbles coming up. You just want to keep going until you don't see any bubbles. All right, now on this style fork, with this style damper and all that, I like to push the rod up. I fill it to right below the bleed holes, and this is going to be messy, which is why I have this tray here. We're going to take this and drop her in here. There we go. Now we're going to push it down in, and I'm going to keep my hands over these bleed holes, mainly so it doesn't just spurt all over me. There we go. And then as I push it, you'll see the rod is going to want to come out. There we go. And it's going to bleed itself. You know, as long as you got all the air out of the oil, it'll bleed itself. So there we go. Start this thing by hand like we do with everything. Screw it on till, yeah, it's going to stop right about there because the O-ring is hitting. Now, what we'll do is chalk it back up in the soft jaws, mainly, like I said, just to hold it so it doesn't move around on us. Get our fork cap wrench. Tight. We're not going to go crazy. I'm not getting the torque wrench out. I know someone's going to crucify me on here for not pulling the torque wrench out, but you don't need it. There's an O-ring on the thing, and it's a huge nut, so just get it nice and tight. Oh, there's that. Stealing things. There we go. Now, I'm going to check, make sure everything's sealed up. Hold this over the tray. I'm going to push this rod up. It's going to probably bleed a little bit more oil out here. And then if everything is good and all the seals are fine in here, the rod will come back out on its own. There we go. All good. It came all the way back out. Didn't have to pull it. I tried it, but it didn't go anywhere, so that's good. Now let's reassemble it. All right. So we've got our adjuster down in there. Now I'm going to take our spring. Sit down like that. Now we'll take our fork tube. I'm going to slide it over, put it down on my boot again. I'm going to get that damper rod to come up through there. And we're going to hold it again with this. Well, now this guy is D-shaped, and so is the damper adjuster rod. So we want to make sure we key it in correctly. There we go. And it's going to turn the clickers as we go. That's why we counted everything. That's now, we're going to be nice and careful. We're not going to go super fast. All right, bottoming out. Take our 17mm wrench. And when you're assembling this style with that D-style adjuster rod and D-style adjuster, you really want to be careful if you're using an impact. Someone's going to yell at me for using an impact, but you heard it didn't go until it touched, right? So I'm not just going and pinning it, and breaking that rod. So go nice and easy. Now that it started to touch that lock nut, we can go tight. There we go. Now we can use the impact to tighten her down. All right. Last step of these forks, we got to put the right amount of oil into the outer chamber. So the outer tube on these guys takes 365 cc's of oil. Using the same 5-weight Maxima. I'm going to get as close to 365 as we can. The last mark on here is 350, so we just want to fuzz over that. I'm just going to pour this in here. And this oil level or oil amount, it's important because you don't want to put way too much or way too little in there. But really, if you were to put too much, it would act like a stiffer spring. If you were to put too little, it would act like a softer spring. So it's not a huge thing. It's mainly just for lubrication and that air gap of making it, giving some resistance. So back in the soft jaws, tighten her down. Fork's ready. Well, this fork's ready to go. I got the other one to do, but like I said, it's the same as this one. No need to show you guys. Hope you guys liked that video. If you found it helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It does actually mean a ton to us in this channel. Also, share it with your friends if you've got friends that need to do fork seals or whatever. I'm all about teaching people how to do things. I want people to learn how to work on their bikes, become one with their motorcycle, get to know it, actually get to know everything about it. So anyway, I got to set the clickers back and get back after I got a lot more. got a lot more work to do.